What if space isn't just a background? What if it's not some empty, black void we're drifting through, but something alive, something that stretches, warps, and bends? And what if time doesn't just tick forward, but bends with it, slows down, speeds up, maybe even loops? Think about this. You're floating near a black hole, just hovering there. To you, it feels normal. But someone watching you from far away? They're seeing time slow down for you like you're stuck in slow motion. That's not science fiction. That's real. That's space-time doing its thing. We live inside this invisible web that holds the entire universe together. Galaxies, planets, people. Even the seconds passing by right now. It's called the space-time fabric, and it's one of the most mind-bending concepts in physics. It's also the perfect playground for science fiction. Now, hold that thought, because in today's video, we're going to explore both sides of that mystery. The real science and the what-if stories that imagine humanity not just surviving in this bizarre universe, but dominating it. Welcome back to the channel. Or hey, if you're new here, awesome to have you. This space is where we mix science, speculation, and a whole lot of imagination. If you've ever looked up at the night sky and thought, there's no way we're the only ones, or if you've ever wished warp drives were real, you're in the right place. Today's topic is a wild one. We're talking about the space-time fabric, what it is, why it matters, and how it's not just something for scientists in labs to obsess over. It actually shows up in some of the craziest sci-fi short stories out there, especially in a genre known as HFY, or humanity, F***, yeah, asterisk. Now, if you're not familiar with HFY, don't worry. I'll break it down super quick. HFY is a subgenre of science fiction where humans aren't just the scrappy underdogs. We're the unexpected powerhouses. Aliens usually look at us like we're nothing special, until we do something wild, like hack space-time, or win a war using pure stubbornness, or find a way to outsmart civilizations a million years ahead of us. That's HFY in a nutshell. In this episode, we're going to dig into what space-time actually is. Don't worry, I'll keep it chill and easy to follow. Then, we'll explore some fictional short stories where humans don't just learn about space-time, they master it. Stories where bending space and time isn't just theory, it's survival. So, if you've ever wondered whether time travel could be real, or if humans could one day fold space like a napkin to travel across galaxies, you're about to go down a rabbit hole. Let's uncover what makes this mysterious space-time fabric so fascinating, and why humans might be the only ones crazy enough to mess with it. The mystery. What is the space-time fabric? Alright, so let's take a second to really ask, what the heck do we even mean by space-time fabric? It sounds like something out of a Star Trek episode or a high school physics nightmare, right? But it's actually a simple idea once you break it down. First, forget everything you picture when you think of space. It's not just some big black, empty place where stars float around. And time? It's not just a clock ticking forward 1 second at a time. In modern physics, thanks mostly to Einstein, space and time aren't two separate things. They're part of one single entity, space-time. Imagine this. You've got a giant stretch of fabric, like a big trampoline. That fabric is space-time. Now, if you place something really heavy in the middle, like a bowling ball, that would be a planet or a star. The fabric dips under the weight. And if you roll a smaller ball nearby, it naturally spirals toward that dip. That's basically how gravity works in Einstein's world. It's not a mysterious force pulling things. It's the fabric of space bending around massive objects. Wild, right? This bending and stretching is constantly happening everywhere in the universe. Planets bend space-time. Stars bend it even more. And black holes? Those things are like poking holes straight through the fabric. But here's where things get interesting, and a little strange. This fabric isn't just a metaphor. We've actually observed how it behaves. Light bends around stars because of it. Time slows down near massive objects. Even GPS satellites in orbit have to be adjusted because the clocks on them tick slightly faster than clocks on Earth. That's space-time at work, literally messing with time itself. And yet, we barely understand it. That's the mystery. We can see what space-time does, but we don't really know what it is. Is it made of something? Can it tear? Can we fold it, like science fiction loves to suggest? Could we use it to travel faster than light? Or build a wormhole? These are the questions that pull scientists and sci-fi writers into the deep end. And humans? We're just scratching the surface. Or maybe we're already doing more than we think. Einstein's curveball, general relativity, explained simply. So, now that we've got a feel for what space-time is supposed to be, let's talk about the guy who flipped the entire universe on its head, Albert Einstein. Before Einstein came along, people believed gravity worked a certain way. Basically, big objects pulled on smaller ones with a kind of invisible force. That was Isaac Newton's idea, and it made total sense for centuries. Planets orbit the sun because it's supermassive and pulls them in. Apples fall from trees because Earth tugs them down. Done deal. But Einstein, he looked at all that and went, maybe gravity isn't a force at all. In 1915, he dropped a bombshell with his general theory of relativity. Instead of thinking of gravity as some magical pull, he proposed something completely different and way cooler. He said that what we call gravity is really just the curving of space-time. Let's bring back that trampoline example. Imagine space-time as a stretchy sheet. Place a heavy bowling ball in the middle. That's something with mass, like the sun. The sheet curves. Now roll a marble near it. It spirals toward the dent, not because the bowling ball is pulling it, but because the marble is following the curve in the sheet. That curve is gravity. This simple shift in thinking changed everything. It explained stuff Newton couldn't, like how light bends when it passes near a star, or why Mercury's orbit doesn't quite match Newton's equations. Einstein's math lined up with the real universe in a way no one had seen before. And it wasn't just theory. People tested it. During a solar eclipse in 1919, astronomers saw stars appear slightly out of place because their light had curved around the sun. That proved space itself was bending. Literally. Now here's the trippy part. Time gets pulled into all this too. According to Einstein, time runs differently depending on how deep you are in a gravity well. So, time ticks slower near something massive. That's why astronauts orbiting Earth age just a tiny bit slower than we do on the ground. It's not sci-fi. It's science. That's the genius of Einstein's idea. He didn't just describe gravity. He reimagined reality. And if humans can understand how this bending works, who's to say we won't figure out how to control it? Black holes and time dilation, where space-time gets really weird. Alright, now things are about to get seriously weird. We've talked about how mass bends space-time. But what happens when you take that concept to the extreme? Enter black holes. These cosmic giants are where space-time gets stretched so intensely, it completely breaks the rules of what we thought we knew. So, let's imagine this for a second. A black hole is basically a point in space where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. That's why they're called black holes. No light means we can't see them directly, but we can detect them by how they bend the space around them. But it's not just the black hole's intense gravity that's interesting. It's the mind-bending effects on time. Remember how Einstein told us that the more massive something is, the more it warps space-time? Well, black holes are so massive, they create a deep well in space-time. And that well is so steep, time behaves differently around it. Here's where things get trippy. The closer you get to a black hole, the slower time moves. Imagine being an astronaut near the event horizon. That's the point of no return. To someone far away from the black hole, Your clock would look like it's ticking slower, and slower the closer you get to the black hole's edge. To you, time feels totally normal, but to an outside observer, it looks like you're frozen in time. This effect is called time dilation, and it's not just a weird theory. We've actually seen it happen. In fact, time dilation has been confirmed with GPS satellites, which have to adjust their clocks because time moves slower for them in orbit than on Earth. So, if you think about it, time isn't the same everywhere. It's relative to where you are and how fast you're moving through space. Now, what does this all mean for space travel? Well, in theory, if humans could get close to a black hole, without falling in, of course, we could experience time at a much slower rate compared to people on Earth. Imagine traveling near a black hole for just a year, and returning to find that centuries have passed. That kind of time dilation is a huge part of science fiction stories, where astronauts journey through deep space and come back to a world that's radically changed. Quantum foam, the smallest scales of space-time. Now, let's zoom in a little way in. Like, to the tiniest thing you can imagine. We've been talking about how massive objects warp space-time. But what happens when you get down to the quantum level? The smallest scale of the universe? Enter quantum foam. This idea comes from the intersection of Einstein's theory of relativity, which deals with the big stuff, planets, stars, galaxies, and quantum mechanics, which deals with the teeny-tiny stuff, atoms and particles. And when these two worlds collide, things get weird. Quantum foam is the term used to describe the chaotic, fluctuating nature of space-time at the tiniest scales. Imagine space-time isn't smooth like a calm ocean. Instead, it's more like the surface of boiling water. At this incredibly small level, the Planck scale, which is 10 to the power of -35 meters, space-time is bubbling, frothing, and constantly shifting. Small bubbles of energy and matter pop in and out of existence in what scientists call quantum fluctuations. Now, here's where it gets even more mind-bending. If space-time is this foamy and fluctuating at the smallest scale, could it be the key to things like wormholes or even time travel? Some scientists believe that if we can understand how quantum foam behaves, we might unlock a way to bend space-time at will. Or, in other words, control how time and space interact in ways we never imagined. This is the stuff that sci-fi writers dream of: folding space, creating shortcuts between distant points in the universe, or even creating stable wormholes. And yet, this quantum foam might be the foundation for it all. It's a tough concept to fully grasp, because we've never directly observed quantum foam. It's not something you can just see with a telescope or microscope. But that's the beauty of it. This mystery is waiting to be solved. We're looking at space-time as a continuous fabric, but at its core, it might actually be a frothy, turbulent, and constantly fluctuating mess. Now, why does this matter for humans? Well, if we can crack the code on quantum foam, we could potentially find a way to manipulate it. That means, someday, we might be able to travel across galaxies in an instant, bypassing the limitations of conventional space travel. And who knows? If the fabric of space-time is flexible enough, maybe time travel won't just be a sci-fi fantasy. The day we folded space. All right, imagine this. It's the year 2147, and humanity is on the brink of extinction. A massive, warlike alien race called the Zorathians has invaded the solar system. They're technologically advanced, their ships are nearly invincible, and their fleet is crushing anything in its path. Earth's defenses are barely holding on, and it looks like this is it. But in the darkest hour, humanity's greatest strength is about to be revealed, not through superior firepower, but through pure ingenuity. Enter Dr. Alara Madison, a brilliant scientist and physicist working in a secret lab on the moon. For years, she's been studying quantum foam and the mysterious properties of space-time. Most of her colleagues think she's chasing shadows. After all, who can manipulate something as intangible as space-time? But Dr. Madison believes the key to saving humanity is hidden in the very fabric of the universe itself. One night, as the Zarathian fleet nears Earth's orbit, she makes a breakthrough. Using a combination of quantum foam research and Einstein's theory of relativity, she develops a device that can fold space. It's a risky experiment, but if it works, she could create a direct shortcut between two distant points in space, essentially a wormhole. And just maybe, she could send the Zarathians packing. With nothing left to lose, she assembles a small team of astronauts, and together, they launch the first-ever space-time manipulation mission. Their goal? To fold space right underneath the alien fleet, creating a portal that will send the Zarathians straight into the farthest reaches of the galaxy, far away from Earth. As the crew activates the device, something incredible happens. They don't just fold space, they bend time as well. The Zarathian ships, caught in the flux of this manipulated space-time, are thrown into a disorienting loop. Some ships are sent back in time, others are accelerated forward. Chaos erupts within their fleet. The invaders have no idea what's happening. In the midst of the confusion, Earth's forces strike back. The Zarathians, disoriented and fragmented, are forced to retreat. The war is won, and Earth survives, not because of advanced weaponry or brute force, but because of humanity's ability to understand and manipulate the very fabric of space-time. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mystery of space-time and how humanity might one day bend the very fabric of the universe, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more sci-fi adventures. Whether it's real science or the wildest what-if scenarios, we've got plenty more stories and mind-bending theories coming your way. And hey, drop a comment below to share your thoughts. What do you think? Could we ever fold space, or is that pure science fiction? Let's talk about it.